Hello, everyone. Our topic is active techniques for energy efficiency. And in this video, we're going to cover the LEED category, energy and atmosphere. We'll talk about the energy and atmosphere strategies, including energy demand, energy efficiency, renewable energy, and ongoing performance. And then we'll cover two of the major tools for energy management used in LEED design, and that's energy modeling and commissioning. There's four major energy and atmosphere strategies. And in the last couple of weeks on our discussion of passive and active design strategies, we've covered just about all of this. All right. So starting with energy demand, you want to remember that energy conservation is the same thing as reducing the demand for energy. And our goal should be to reduce energy infrastructure, how much equipment that we need, as well as the energy consumption. Moving on to energy efficiency. In this strategy, we work on using less energy to accomplish the same design goals. We can measure this using energy per square foot, right? Or energy use per capita per person, whichever makes more sense. The third strategy they call renewable energy, and this is the on-site generation of energy typically needed to meet net zero goals. And finally, the one that we haven't touched much upon, which I'll cover later in the video, ongoing performance. It's important that not only do you design to meet all of these strategies, all right, but then your project actually functions as it was designed, and then over time it sustains and maintains that performance. The integrated design team doesn't just think about energy efficiency at the very beginning of the project or at the very end of the project or during occupancy of the building. No, we need to think about it throughout the life cycle of the entire project. All right. So think about those four different strategies covered in the LEED energy and atmosphere category. And you can think about the energy demand strategy. Typically happens earlier in the project. You need to establish those energy goals early and consider using passive strategies, again, to reduce energy demand. The energy efficiency and the renewable energy strategies, those are typically those active design techniques, all right, where we specify efficient equipment and possibly add some energy generation on site. The ongoing performance part is going to be monitoring and verification. That doesn't just happen at the end of the project, it's going to happen throughout the design process also. Now, there's two major tools that your design team can use throughout this life cycle of a project, all right, through the entire process of the project. Then we're going to talk about them next. The first one is energy modeling, and it's used to optimize the different synergies in your building and your design. And the other one is called commissioning. And commissioning is used to verify and document that your systems are going to meet the design requirements. So what is energy modeling? It's a computer simulation of a building, one that focuses on energy consumption. And therefore, we can look at the utility bills and life cycle costs, right? What do we need to build an energy model? How do we do this? Well, you need the right software. All right. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this. There are hundreds of options for the softwares. It's a little beyond the scope of our class. But you need the software, and then you also need some basic information about your project. And you can start general in the very beginning of a project, and you can get over the life cycle of the project, you can get more and more specific so your data gets better and better. What does this all have to do with LEED? Well, LEED has a prerequisite in the energy and atmosphere category called minimum energy performance, in which design teams are encouraged to use energy modeling. Most of them do. All right, but it's not actually required. There are some ways to fulfill this prerequisite without creating an energy model. However, there is a massive energy and atmosphere credit, up to 18 points, for optimizing energy performance. Um, and you need the energy modeling in order to do this. All right. But that's not all. It turns out that there are up to 22 other points available. All right. And this is just in the different credit categories that have synergies with energy modeling. You can see that LEED is heavily invested in you, as the part of the design team, having an energy model available and using it in your design process. Let's move on to our second topic here and talk about commissioning, abbreviated CX. What is building commissioning? It is the professional practice of ensuring that a building or a project is successfully delivered and will operate according to the OPR and the BOD. And I'm going to define those for you in a minute. All right. This is an all-inclusive quality assurance based process. Right? But it's not done at just one point in the design process. No, it is an integral part of the entire design and construction process. Begins in the early phases of a project and continues all the way until the building is handed over to, that should read, the owner. So you start in the pre-design process, all right, moving through the construction phase, acceptance, and operations. Let's define those two terms I used in the last slide. And the first one was Owner's Project Requirements, or OPR. OPR is a written document. It details a project's functional requirements, how it's going to be used and operated. This includes design goals, measurable performance criteria, etc. Right? The second one is BOD, or Basis of Design. Again, this is a written document. It records all the different concepts, calculations, decisions, the different selections used by the design team as they start to create the design that meets the OPR and also meets any codes or standards. Both these documents, the OPR and the BOD, are primarily the function of the mechanical engineer and the engineering team in general. So now you know what commissioning is, and two of the major terms that are involved here, the OPR and the BOD. All right, let's pull this topic back to LEED. How does LEED treat commissioning? Well, there's two different requirements for it in LEED. And the first one is called fundamental commissioning. This is kind of the baseline. It's a prerequisite. All projects need to do this. All right. And the prerequisite is that all projects need to develop the OPR and the BOD. They need to hire a commissioning agent, and that's abbreviated CXA, and have them on the integrated design team. All projects must develop and implement a commissioning plan, and therefore they are going to verify system tests are actually performed and document the findings. This is the baseline. All right, all LEED projects have to do this. But there's additional credits available for enhanced commissioning. It kind of builds on the fundamental requirements. And there's a couple of different pathways to travel here. All right. And they typically require either more documentation, more extensive documentation, or more extensive commissioning practices. All right, everybody. In this video, we covered the LEED energy and atmosphere category. We talked about the different energy efficiency strategies available and covered two of the major tools used to implement those strategies, and that's energy modeling and commissioning. Thanks, everyone.